Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sabyra, aka Sabythesimmer. Happy Thursday. So I've done another rental. I got the industrial loft kit last month, I think it was. So I wanted to make a build where I could really use it. I needed somewhere that was kind of industrial like, but not like, I just wanted to use the slidey door basically, and I felt like I wanted to do this modern mountain rental that I saw. So I'm going to put on screen the reference image that I used, and I kind of went to like copy it fully completely like how it looks in the reference image, and then I just tweaked things because it just didn't make sense, and how I wanted to place windows and the roof pieces, as you can see, are clipping in together, and I didn't like the way it looked. I think the triangle piece of the roof, I never remember what the roof pieces are called, but that middle piece of the roof, just it sticks out a bit too much for me, and then the other side, it just didn't look cute, I think. So apologies if you can hear, like, I feel like I can hear an airplane right now. But my window's open because I always have my windows open, and I don't think the noise will be too distracting on top of like the music in the background as well. So I think it should be fine, but just in case you can hear background noise, that's what it is. My windows are open, and I do live right across from like, not really a park, kind of like a field, just an open area basically. So people walk past there, people play there, people do all kind of stuff. So I hope there's no screaming and stuff in the background. But yeah, I really wanted to use the industrial loft kit stuff. So, and I love Dream Home Decorator, so I've just been using that pretty much everywhere. So I made this little modern mountain home rental, and I need to practice with the terrain tools because I don't use them that often because they intimidate me. So this build, I really got to like test my terrain tool capabilities because I like lifted the terrain, and I also lowered the terrain to create some water underneath. So what you will see does change, because when I went back to finish up the terrain details and everything like that, I actually just cleared all the terrain details and started again, except from the landscape, and I kept all the landscape and just the terrain like manipulation I completely bulldozed because I just didn't like the way things were looking. So it kind of just like the middle of the terrain, it kind of cuts from what I start doing to like I'm just like making adjustments. I didn't keep all of it in because I kept a lot of the beginning parts of me putting out all the debug items. I kept in all of that, but when I go back to tweak things and to like get rid of some of the landscaping and things like that, I didn't really show you guys that. But you didn't really miss anything. It was just because I wanted to just get rid of some of the pieces of landscaping that was floating, and I also just didn't want, so like I had like these blue bushes, like these small little blue bushes, and I just felt like they didn't really fit in with the landscaping. I liked the way everything looked when it looked a bit more, just a bit, it just had a bit more shape to it. I didn't like the prim and proper look of just like a round blue bush. Like the blue tones were great, but it was just a round blue bush, and I didn't feel like it really fit in here because I really tried to like completely cover this whole lot basically in like landscaping to make it look really like deep in the forest or whatever. And I love the world of Glimmerbrick. I never remember how to spell it, but I know how to say it. So I started building in Glimmerbrick, and like I've said before, I buy packs for build and buy and sometimes like the world. But I bought spellcasters. What's the Realm of Magic? It's like, what's the pack called? Realm of Magic a while ago with vampires, and I still haven't played around with the spellcaster kind of gameplay. I haven't done any of that yet, but I will get around to it. I will eventually get around to it. And now I'm looking at my little notes. I'm thinking I might be able to intertwine it some way in shape or form into like a build I'm doing in some way, but we'll get into that in a minute because I want to talk about this build, but I do like to talk about stuff that I'm working on as well because it's just like fun to talk about building in The Sims. But yeah, as you can see here, I've put a little bit of water. This does change slightly. I just change where I think I do a little less, so it's really quite close to the building as opposed to like really coming far out of the building. And I could have chose the bigger lot to really get some like more water going, because I do kind of like I did kind of want to have like ducks in the water, and I couldn't fit them in because I didn't do loads of spaces for water, and it was so close to the foundation that they kept like popping up. So, and I struggle on console to get the foundation, like once I've risen it, it's really hard for me to get it back down to like its standard platform height. Like I feel like it's either too high, or I get it down and it goes into like it sinks into the ground. So I find it a bit tricky, so I might sometimes have to like plug in a mouse and the keyboard when I'm doing the terrain details. I just feel like it's a bit of a hassle to like get used to using a keyboard and a mouse when I'm just about getting used to using a control to do all the building and everything like that. We're kind of talking about building on console. I really wanted to do a video on some like building tips and things that I do when I'm building on console, just in case anyone else is into building, or maybe it can just be helpful for anyone else who like builds on console, who is like starting console. I don't know, I feel like sometimes it's simplified on console just because you obviously just have one controller and that's all, whereas on a keyboard you have so many shortcuts, so many different keys for different things. And because I play a little bit of The Sims on my laptop, I know some of the keys, kind of, but I feel like I know them by touch as opposed to like, oh, the Alt key does this. Like sometimes I don't actually know what the key is, I just press it because I know where it is on the like the pad. And like oftentimes I'm like in bed in the dark, so I'm not looking at the keys, I'm just like, oh, I know this one works for this and this one works for that. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge to do a video on like building in The Sims 4, but like for control for on the console, and also like to add in the shortcuts and stuff like that for PC. I might have to just Google them because I don't remember them by heart. So let me know if you're interested in a video like that. I think I've had the odd question here and there about like my building and how I do it and certain things like that. So I think it might be useful if I show you how I do it on console, but also show you the like I'll have on the screen the shortcuts and things like that for PC and Xbox, because I believe the buttons on Xbox controllers are different, but I think they still function the same. And I'm not sure, I don't use Xbox, but I use PlayStation. So yeah, I think that it will be a video that I'll try and get out next week. We'll see what happens. I haven't actually, no, that's a lie. I was gonna say that I haven't got a video planned for next week, but I do. I'm working on a build now, which I guess I will talk about. So I don't normally do big builds, and I don't really like doing big builds because they just take so long, and especially if it comes to furnishing, it's so long. And I'm the kind of person, like if I sit and do a build, sometimes I like to finish it here and like right there and when I'm building it, and other times I don't mind coming back to it. Depends on what the build is, but for the most part I just like to get it done in one sitting. So big builds, it's hard to do that. It really is hard to do that. So I had a comment from Hungry Cow Plant. They create some Sims content as well, so go check them out. But they asked me if I'd ever be open to do a, well, they was asking me if I was open to doing like video requests, and then there was like, would you ever do a goth renovation? And honestly, I'm not super religious or super spiritual, but when this comment came up, literally probably like the day before that, I was looking on the Willow Creek world map, I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was building or something like that, and I went back to manage worlds, and I like hovered over the goth home and was like, I wonder what it would be like to renovate that. But it was just a passing thought. I didn't really think too much about it. So then obviously when I go to my YouTube and I see that comment, I was like, okay. And I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm super big on like signs and, you know, the world, things being aligned and things like that, but I like to pay attention sometimes because it could be a fun challenge to do. So I will let you know when that build is finished, but I have actually started it. I have a habit of like making homes small, and the goth house is in no way, shape or form a small home, but I've kind of made it smaller, and then now I'm kind of regretting it because I'm trying to think of the goth family and thinking about how their home is quite grand and they need like entertainment space, and I don't know, I haven't provided that for them, and I haven't given them like office space, so I just don't know. I don't know enough about the family as well to know what they do enough at home, let alone just them as Sims, to know what to include in the home. So what I'm going to do is, I've put a pause on the build, but I've done literally the exterior work and a floor plan. That's all I've done so far. No landscaping. That's all I've done. But I'm going to have a look at the goth family, kind of like their lore, things that happen in the family, things they like, things like that, so that can help me a bit more with if I expand the home or if I just add on some like additions to the home. We'll see, because at the moment I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, it does look a bit small and it does look a bit lonely, but I think it's mainly because it's literally just in the middle of the lot. There's no landscaping, there's nothing around it, so that doesn't help. And I'm thinking of what to include in the garden, so I could include like maybe like an office space in the garden where it's like an outhouse kind of thing. That could be a thing. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear you guys' opinions on like things that should be included in the goth house. The exterior so far, I've gone with Victorian style, black exterior. I've added a little bits of details I don't normally add on homes, but I just feel like it adds to making the home look really dramatic from the outside. But I was thinking of the interiors, if I just stick to black and red, or if I do bring some like different colors in. I really want to use dark wood, so maybe not the dark tone that I'm using in this build now, but maybe something similar. So I still want a dark wood, but not too dark. I don't want it to look black. I want it to look like a dark wood. So that's the theme. I'm going with like dark wood, dark black tiles for like the kitchen and the bathrooms. I haven't settled on wallpapers and things like that yet. So I don't know if I should go with the red and black theme, or if I should completely do a whole different feel for the Goth family home. I don't know if I should really stick to the tradition of it or go my own way. So let me know your thoughts on the Goth family and their home and things like that, because I literally bulldozed it, and then afterwards was like, I probably should have looked to see what they had in there first to see what I should include in the other house. Like, do they have a piano? I can't remember if they do. Like, things like that. And I know now I have no space for a piano in the house that I built already. So the shell that I built already, because it's literally empty. There's just stairs and doors in there and windows. But I'm just thinking about what I should include in the homes, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I might have to extend it a bit, or figure out if I should change the floor plan, or yeah, I'm not sure, because I have made a room in the roof and there's no actual windows, because I didn't make my own dormers. I just used the ones that are in the game, so it doesn't actually add any natural light into the room. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to actually take them out and use real dormers, or if I'm going to leave it as that and like just have it so that they don't have outdoor lighting. Or maybe I'll even add in the balcony. Maybe I could do that, and then that way they have outdoor lighting from the balcony windows or door or whatever. But yeah, let me know your guys' ideas, because I am actually kind of like, I don't know, it's intimidating but it's exciting at the same time to do a build that is like quite iconic, you know, and I've just bulldozed it and then tried my own thing. So yeah, so let me know your opinions on the Goth house and what should be involved in it like that. So with this build now, I pretty much just worked with a theme. So I just really like the dark wood. Originally the cabinets in the kitchen was going to be the base game ones, like the industrial ones, because I wanted that industrial feel. But none of the swatches really, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling any of the swatches. Like, I'm really glad we got all those new swatches, but I just couldn't figure out if the dark wood was clashing or if I was like matching it with I just was struggling so much with those cabinets. So I just went with the safe option, the Dream Home Decorator ones, because I just feel like they work really well. Because as much as they're modern, like, it's quite, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like it was pretty easy to use those pieces from that pack. So I just ended up using the counters and the cabinets from Dream Home Decorator, and I also used the bar stools from there, and then the dining table I literally used the same Dream Home Decorator pack for that as well. And I really didn't know what to put in this area. I was tempted to put a bar, but I really wish, like, you're gonna see me use it in a minute, but do you know, like, the globe bars, I don't know if that comes with is it luxury living or something? I don't know. The luxury I think it's a stuff pack. That one. I don't know if they have a globe that works as a bar, like it actually functions as a bar in that pack, because when I use the base game one, I always just wish that was a bar, or that you could mix drinks from it, because I don't want a big bar in like a rental home. Like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like if this is a rental for like multiple Sims, then it could work, because you could have like parties, but like 2 Sims are gonna sleep there, and it just didn't make sense to have like a full-on bar. And I was tempted to put one outside, but I just couldn't make it work or like look the way I wanted it to, so I just scrapped it and like just put the globe thingy there, because I kind of in my mind have it as like, that's the bar. You open it, there's some alcohols in there, you can mix your own drinks, so you could buy, I mean, you can have the ice in the freezer, like whatever. But I just like felt like I want that globe to actually work as a bar. I can't remember the video now, but I'm gonna have to link it in the description. But there was a video that I watched, and they did like different ways to make bathrooms and things like that more interesting, and so I decided to like take some inspiration from that, and I raised the platform. I put the Discover University shower in there, and then I put a little fence around it, and I just liked the way it looked. I ended up putting the hanging plant next to it. I liked the way it looked. It was something a little different. It added a bit more shape to the room and made it not so like just boxy. I tend to always make my bathrooms either long or boxy. I don't really have any funky or interesting shapes when it comes to the bathrooms. I normally keep them the same style. Like, I find a corner, I'm like, okay, if I can fit in a bathroom space in there, that'd be great. I feel like I'm running out of breath. I just had a sip of water, because honestly I feel like I was talking really fast, but I think maybe because this is slightly shorter than yesterday's video, so I'm probably trying to talk a bit quicker so I don't run out of time. But yeah, I just went with a simple layout with the bathroom. I ended up using the Seasons sink instead. I love that sink, I really do. And the Dream Home Decorator mirror. I've only used this one. I haven't actually used the other one yet, but I will eventually at some point. I just don't know. It needs to have the room for it, I guess. But yeah. I go into the bedroom next, I believe, or is it the living room next? I can't remember if I did the living room next, but I've done like the living area, and I love how like it's quite dim in there in terms of the lighting. It's quite warm and like dark. I feel like this bathroom and the kitchen and the seating area is very bright, and although that there's like big windows in the living space, it's not like super bright in there, and I just love the contrast of it. Like, it's really moody, I think, so you can sit there, watch some films or whatever the case may be, grab a little throw and some extra cushions and get comfortable and watch some films. I just thought it was like a really nice vibe. I think I do go to the bedroom next, actually. Now that I put the robes in there, I think I do. And I struggled to think of like, I just felt that this area needed something else. It was a bit bland, so I just ended up using that bench. I feel like this is very much a mix of Dream Home Decorator, Industrial Loft Kit, and some extra bits that I found in places. This mat, I love using this like clustered mat and rug thingy from, I think it's Laundry Day. I want more of those. I really want more of those. And I was questioning whether I should just keep it as a simple matte tone, and I mean a rug, like just keep the tone simple. But I really liked how it contrasted with the rest of the room. So it's got some of the warm brownie tones from like the floor and the furnishings, but then there's also bits of blue in there. There's the red that I feel like it just adds extra detail into the room. I just really liked how it was like contrasting, but it didn't look so out of place. At first I wasn't sure, and then I got my sister to look at it and she was like, wow, it looks good. I was like, okay, thank you. And she actually came in whilst I had all the landscaping around, and I was like, oh, I've just placed it randomly. She was like, this is placed randomly. I was like, yeah, I've not really thought about placing it properly. Like, I'll go in and actually move things around and place it properly. She was like, it actually looks good already. I was like, oh, thanks. But I've just started to like pull out a bunch of debug items and then place it my own way. And things like with rugs as well, I started to like pull out a bunch of rugs I like and then test to see which ones I want, because on console you can't like go into the catalog whilst using an item. Like, you have to come in and out of the catalog to like move an item and things like that. It's kind of annoying. Like, once you've placed it, you just go back to the catalog. You're not able to like click on the item again. So that is one of the things that's a bit annoying. But I feel like if you don't ever play on like PC and things like that, you're not going to know the difference. So you're not going to know what it's like to not have to do that. But because I often sometimes just play, I say often and sometimes, does that make sense in the same sentence? But when I do play on my laptop, it is one of those things that I'm aware of, because I'm like, oh yeah, I can actually like still find things in the catalog whilst I place items down. It's fun. But I use the City Living light thing that goes on the wall. I can't remember the last time I've used this, but I remember when I first saw it and I was really, I loved it because I just loved how it added some extra detail to the walls. So I decided to use it in here, and I think it carried through a bit of the industrial feel. So I just feel like this is a very mix of like modern and industrial and like cabin. Like, it just gave me the feel like it's like a cabin in the wood somewhere. I end up extending the bedroom a little bit because it was quite squishy and I had no place to put like a dresser at least. And I'm like, if this is a rental, you need at least a dresser to put stuff in. I don't need loads and loads of space for clothes and things like that, but I needed space for a dresser at least. So I end up moving the bed, and then I actually go to extend it a little bit on the end, and then add windows in the corners, and then do the dresser in the middle and like a mirror on the side and some extra details and stuff like that on the dresser. And I can't remember what rug I use. I think I use Cats and Dogs. I think they have some really nice swatches on the Cats and Dogs rugs. I didn't think I really paid much attention to them, but when I see it, I'm like, oh, these swatches are really nice. I noticed as well in the plant kit, we got 2 plants like this, but one's quite small and then there's this size. I'm laughing because the paintings, the canvases that I put in the background, I kind of had a little joke with myself and was like, the suggestive canvas from City Living could go in this room because it's the bedroom and you want to rental lot. And I just felt like if there was couples together, they could probably like look at that painting and laugh because they could probably see what everyone else sees when they see that painting. So I just thought I would put it in there for the fact that it could be suggestive, but it just, I had no place to really put it, and I wanted that wall lighting piece to actually be there as opposed to having that suggestive picture there. I think as well, I didn't really notice it at first until someone pointed it out, and then I can't see it any other way now. I literally can't look at it any other way. I'm a bit like, did the Sims know that it looks suggestive like when they did it? And I don't read descriptions for anything, so maybe there's a little joke in the description that I don't know about, but I noticed I don't actually read descriptions. But I know someone mentioned it when I was watching someone's stream. They mentioned how the there's something that's named after like some kind, oh, it was like wicker whims, I think it was called, or something like that, for like the wicker basket or something like that. And I was just like, that's actually pretty funny considering there's like a mod, Wicked Whims, and I just thought that was a good play on words. And like, if you know about mods and things like that, it's quite funny to think that they've made Wicked Whims, which is quite a, you know, an adults kind of part of a mod, and added it into something as like normal as like a basket with throws and cushions in it. Like, I just thought it was a funny thing to think about. But yeah, I think I just end up using the cat and dog rug in this bedroom, and I really like how this bedroom feels. It's really warm and just like cozy because of the yellowy orangey vibes, and I like what I did with the windows. I'm glad I did extend it and not try to squeeze everything in, but I just wanted things to fit well. I didn't want it to feel squished, so I think that's why I just extended it instead of like being tight and thinking, no, I want to keep it the way I want to keep it. No, we're gonna move things around, we're gonna do things in a way that works. And I love this dresser from City Living. Now that I'm thinking about it, I do wonder how many packs I used in this, because I see a lot of City Living, I see a lot of the Dream Home Decorator, and maybe a little bit of Cats on Dogs with that rug, Laundry Day rug. And now I get why there are so many builds. When I see them, I love them, and I'm like, oh, I can't even use it because they've used so many packs that I don't have. But I get it now, because like the more packs you have, the more variety you have. And like a lot of the time, if you're trying to mix styles or trying to keep with the same style, there's different packs that have things that fit in. So I totally get it now. Like before I was a bit like, why is there so many packs to use? But I get it, because you could probably download this build and there might be 2 items from a pack, or 1, and then it is a bit frustrating, like if you don't have the packs. But I get it now. I get why it happens, because it's so easy to be like, I want to use this and I want to use that because I can and it works. So like this chair is Seasons, and the bench that the table that I've used is Cats and Dogs. Like it's it's a mixture, but they work. Well, I think they work. You could think differently, but. And I was thinking about when I go into the living room space, I use the base game table and the industrial loft kit chairs, and I just like the way they look together. But like I said, I feel like it's very like moody. The feel was really moody in the living room space. Did I do it already and I totally forgot I did the living room already? I hope did I do the living room already? Because I can see the living room, but I don't remember going through that part. Maybe I totally missed it. And one of the things for them to do is I put the little games table out in the front area, like where the kitchen is. And as you can see there, I tried to squeeze in the bar, but it just doesn't look good in that corner. I've got a few planters just randomly there. I wasn't sure if I was going to put anything in it. I could have probably put some like debug plants in there, like the blue bushes that I was reluctant to use. So I could have probably put them in there because they're quite round and they feel like they could be in like a planter. It would make sense for them. But you're going to see me now. I'm going to add in a bunch of debug landscaping. And as you can see, I did want to put in some ducks and fishes and stuff like that. But it just everything was floating. I just realized that the mic was pretty close to me, so you probably heard me laughing, like breathing into the mic. Apologies for that. My sister used my headphones yesterday because she did her first stream, and I was just like, why does her mic sound like that? Why does it sound so close? And it's because she probably put it really close. But I tend to move it away from me, so when I do laugh, you don't get that kind of like breath hitting the mic sound, because it's not, you don't want to hear that. You don't need to. So yeah, I've just moved it away slightly, so the sound might change slightly. I was talking through the whole of the living room space and didn't realize I was really in the living room. I just realized that. Like, I went back for a second and I was like, I did do the living room and I showed you, but I felt like I wasn't talking about the living room when I was doing it. So that's why I totally just forgot that it happened. But these bushes in debug from Cats and Dogs, I love them. And I needed a way to use them. And obviously this build, well, not obviously, but this build felt like the best place to kind of use them, because they kind of just fill in gaps, but they make it look really full. And yeah, I think the fullness of it helps, because like I hate like gaps in the landscaping when they doesn't need to be. So those items really help with that. And then I just went in basically really randomly and just like used those Cats and Dogs bushes to like go around the outline, and then filled in the space with flowers and then other low-lying kind of plants, and then some like high grass pieces. So I think Cottage Living, is it, or is it Cats and Dogs that have these pieces? I can't see the icon from it. Oh, it's Country Living. Is that the pack name? Why do I never remember the names? those like tall pieces of grass piece. I really love those pieces because it comes in like a long strip, so I think they're good for like doing it on the outside, like on an outline, or just like squeezing it in somewhere. And then I've used these plants as well from Country Living. Why do I feel like I said that wrong? But I just love the landscaping that came with Country Living. It is so cute and so pretty. And also cats and dogs, obviously. You know I use the same plants from cats and dogs now that I have it. And I was thinking about how I kind of want some more packs because I'm getting so used to using the same things over again now. And like, it's been a while. To be honest, I don't normally feel like that. I feel like I don't really get too used to the things that I'm using. But because now I have, especially things like Dream Home Decorator, I feel like it's it's a real staple if you're a builder. Like, I think it's a really necessary pack because it has so many things in it, and I feel like it works so well in different styles of builds. So yeah, that's just what, like, if anyone's a builder and was like, what pack should I get? Dream Home Decorator, definitely, for sure, because it covers bedrooms, kitchens, bathrooms, I believe. I can't remember if we got a toilet, but I know we got sinks. Yeah, kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, living area. It covers all aspects of the home. So I just feel like that is a good pack to get, as opposed to like one that's quite niche or like specific in a certain style that doesn't fit in with everything. So things like a cottage living pack is great for building if you're trying to build more British style homes or like countryside homes and things like that. But, or like just, yeah, coastal kind of vibes I get from cats and dogs and like cottage living. So I think it depends on your style or like how much versatility you want in the things that you're building. But I'm actually excited to do this building tips kind of video. I don't know how I'm going to do it necessarily just yet, but I will figure that piece out soon. So this is one of those builds where I didn't landscape before lifting the foundation, so I was kind of annoyed at that. But this, I believe this is the part where I just removed all of the terrain manipulation, so there's no terrain that's lifted up or lifted down or like moved down, so I could see what was lifted up, like what was just floating in the sky. And also so that I could just have a bit more of a clear vision of what I wanted the landscaping to look like. And I much prefer the way it turned out this time around. I didn't really like, now I'm looking back at it, I didn't really like the grey kind of stone that I used. The brown, like dirt kind of stone that I use with the terrain paint, I much prefer. I think it just works so much better, especially because it's really, like, the whole exterior is very dark brown, and yeah, I just felt like the grey didn't really fit in that well. And I don't know how to, because I know that little windmill thingy on the side of the build, it functions, guys. It actually like turns. It's so wild because I didn't know it did until I was like taking the shots afterwards and also player testing this space. I didn't realize it moved. It turns. I was so confused. I didn't know that was a thing. So I don't know how to add in like the sprinklers and things like that to make it look like the water is actually going through the little like grids thingies, like the slats in the windmill. I don't know if I'm describing that right, but it just kind of looks like it's spinning and the water isn't touching it because I haven't done anything to make it look like the water is actually going through it or like running through it. I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you've seen one in real life or you've seen how it looks normally, you might know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm sorry for explaining it so bad. So badly. I put that little sign thingy at the front because I kind of had in mind that maybe this is a place that has a lot of people like going to stay there, and they go on like their like hikes and they go on like trips and things, like woodland adventure trips or whatever the case may be. I really brought in the whole like outdoor retreat vibes to a pack that, I mean, to a build that has nothing to really do with it, but I just had that in mind, that you would go there and you'd read that poster that's in front of the house and it'd probably tell you some information about the mountain home, and then it will tell you about the wildlife that live in the area, and also like places you can go. So like it might have a map on there of like the closest shops and maybe the closest pub or whatever the case may be. Like, I just think about if I've been to like this kind of thing before, so it's like not really camping, but like an outdoor retreat kind of thing, and then you get to see what's living around it, which I thought that was kind of realistic, so I just did that. And I actually going with like the darker dirt type of terrain paints, and I really love the contrast between that and the dark stone terrain tools that I used, which I think they look good together. And I really love the water details that we now have. Like, I just love it. I don't know where I was going with that grass. I really don't know why, but yeah, this is the terrain tools, the terrain paint I was talking about. Like, I just feel like it fits in better. and I wasn't sure if it would affect the sim walking past because I've like raised some of the areas, but they had no issues getting to the door, getting through it, and getting up the stairs and all that kind of stuff. It was fine. I don't have them walk around a lot because I wouldn't imagine that you really would. So, especially because I've put all like the outside areas like on its own platform, so I just wouldn't expect them to like walk around this build necessarily. So, yeah. The only thing I didn't test was like the bin. I think it should be fine. I don't think it's too close or anything like that to the foundation or anything like that. But if it is, you can always just shuffle it or whatever. I don't even know if you need a bin on the rental lot. Like, do you really take out the rubbish when you're on the rental? I can't imagine it would get that crazy. You need to empty it with 2 sims up in there, but or stay in there for the time being. I can't imagine it gets too crazy, but I just don't know with this game. Sometimes you just don't know what works and what doesn't work in kind of a realistic sense. So you kind of just have to play a test of the game and get it, just fully understand what's actually happening. So I'm going to wrap up this build because we are coming to the end. You're going to see the shots come up next. Well, next soon. So you can download this from the gallery. I'll put it up in the gallery once you're watching this. It'll be up, ready for you to download and use however you want. You can use it as a residential, a rental, however you want really. So if you liked this video, then please do leave a like. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. I'd really enjoy you joining the family over here. And let me know in the comments, what should I include in the Goth family home? I need to know. But take care, I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.